G'day and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I want to show you how to fix a hip that clicks at the front. Now this isn't necessarily a life-threatening issue for most people, but it can be really frustrating and really annoying. So what I want to go through in this video is I want to touch on two really effective ways to decrease that symptom, to decrease the feeling of that hip wanting to click. But then as we always try and do on this channel, we want to take this conversation a step further, take a step back to try and understand why that hip wants to click in the first place. And then we're going to give you another exercise on top of that to try and rectify that root underlying cause. And the idea is that, my hope is that by the end of this video, not only will you be able to quickly decrease those symptoms, but by chipping away at the underlying causes, you should then make sure that it doesn't come back going forward. So I want to make sure that you guys can rid yourself of this. I used to have this when I was a little bit younger, and it took a little bit of investigating for me to really understand why it was there. Once you understand what it is, it's relatively simple to go away on most people. So before we get into that, obviously, if you're going to enjoy this video, if you find it useful, please consider leaving a like rating down below. Comment down below, what is it that you're dealing with? In what situations does your hip tend to click? Is it when you're running, when you're walking? Do you notice it when you're lying down trying to lift your leg up? Maybe you're trying to get out of bed and you feel a bit of a clunk or a click when you do that. Let me know, because I really want to understand where you guys are fitting into this conversation. And ultimately, if you genuinely find this content insightful and useful, if you're someone who's had this issue for a long time and you just haven't been able to fix it, but hopefully the ideas in this video lead you to fixing it, please consider subscribing to the channel and consider leaving a super thanks donation if you can. They're just great ways to help support the channel and help us sort of continue to pump out this type of content. So with that being said, let's get into the exercises. So the first two exercises that I want to go through, as I said, they're more symptomatic based exercises. So if you consistently do these, you deserve to feel like it's having an immediate impact on those symptoms. But ultimately, without the hidden cause being rectified, you might find that you'll have to keep doing these exercises consistently to remain in some sort of comfortable capacity. Now, the first exercise that I want to go through is one that I really respect and I find is one of, if not the best exercises that everyone should be doing day to day, but it's fantastic for a hip that clicks at the front. So we're going to go through the couch stretch. And the reason for that is when we're looking for where it does tend to click, as we've said, we come in from that hip bone, the hip flexors tend to be quite tight. And the couch stretch is a phenomenal way to gently / brutally release those hip flexors and feed some more slack back into that area, take away some of that over-tensioned state and sort of decrease the chance that it's going to click. So the best way to do this is obviously, to begin with, I would recommend you doing this on a chair, but I'll do this up against a wall. It is a more advanced version, but choose the one that you feel most comfortable with. And all the exercise is when you take the knee of the leg that you're trying to stretch, we're going to place it right back into the corner. So if you're on a chair, it'll be where the cushion of the chair meets the back of the chair. So, and obviously what we want to do with this is we want to take the other leg up into this position. And then what we want to do from here is you've got two options. So the first option is we need to squeeze that butt cheek. And from this position, this more horizontal position, we want to push that hip towards the ground. And you can push it in different directions. So you can go straight, you can go out to the side a little bit. Just choose the position that you feel grants you the best access to the tightness at the front of your hip. Then want to stay here for a minute or two if you feel you can tolerate it. Make sure that you're breathing. If you can't breathe comfortably, then you've gone too far into the stretch. Either you're too far back or you're too far deep into the stretch. So find a position that you feel inherently comfortable with. We don't want to stuff around with this exercise. It can be quite tender or quite brutal, as I said. So from this position with your butt squeezed, we want to basically squeeze everything else around it. So by pushing my foot back into the wall and my knee into the ground, I can flare up the muscles at the front here. And this is a great way to ask those muscles to relax faster than just holding this position. And once you've spent 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes in this position, the next part of this exercise requires us to come up into a more vertical position as far as you feel comfortable. Now, the key with this is that we're looking for some tightness down the front of the thigh, but also potentially a little bit of tightness at the front of the hip. Same thing as before, you can be directly in a linear position pushing forwards. You can be out to one side. Just find the position that you feel most comfortable with. Most people won't get up to this vertical position straight away. You might find that you'll have to stay more horizontal to begin with. do your tensing, squeezing, pushing your foot into the wall, knee into the ground, tense that muscle up for a few seconds. As it loosens up, eventually over time, you'll feel like you can extend through that hip a little bit more without getting stuck and maybe extending through your back, which is obviously a little bit counterproductive. So whichever way you feel comfortable doing this, whether it's on the ground, on a chair, at the extreme end range like this, in more of a comfortable range like this, or just focusing on pushing the hip down to the ground, we want to spend enough time there so that you feel like those muscles at the front of the hip start to release. And if you know what position consistently asks your hip to click, whether it's running or walking or lying on your back, doing a straight leg raise, whatever it might be, do that movement first, or experience that first to get a sense of how that hip's clicking to begin with. Spend a few minutes in this position doing the couch stretch, targeting the areas that you feel tight, and it won't be hard to find them. Then immediately go back to that same movement again, whether it's running, lying down, whatever it is, to reassess how it feels. And what you should be expecting with this is if you're hitting the right spots, it should genuinely feel less clicky, if that's a word, or it should click less or be less aggressive immediately. It may not be perfect straight away, depending on how tight and restricted that tissue is. But if you've taken the time to hit the right spots, you deserve to feel like some progress has been made. This isn't a stretch where you should feel like you do it for 6 months and eventually you notice a change. As I say a lot on the channel, if you do not notice a change with a stretch or a mobility exercise, there's every chance you haven't made change. So just play around with it until you feel like you're making the right progress, target the right areas, and obviously see that progress. Now, the other thing that can tend to happen is through the front of that hip, some of the soft tissue around that hip can become tight and restricted. So while the couch stretch is phenomenal at releasing some of the muscular tightness, if there's some fascial restrictions or something else in there that's contributing to that clicking that isn't muscular, we can actually use a ball, a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball in this case, to go hunting for anything that feels restricted and free that up as well. So what we want to do is we want to take that ball, again, find the hip bone at the front, come just in from that, and we're going to lie down on top of the ball. Now again, you can choose a ball and a surface that feels most comfortable to you. If you get into this position and you feel like a lacrosse ball is too hard, then use a tennis ball. If you feel like doing it on the carpet is too soft, then do it on some hardwood floors. Choose a position and a setup that you feel genuinely gives you the best results for you. And all we're doing here is we're not rolling around on the ball, which is the tendency that a lot of people have. We actually want to find the spot that feels a little bit tight for you. And then we want to do one of two things again. We want to either stay here, let the ball gently press in. And while we're doing that, we want to tense the tissue up over the top. Again, even though we're tensing the muscle, we're engaging the area and we're creating some tension there so that when that tension comes off again and we relax, then we're potentially facilitating maximal relaxation as well. So a great way to do this is if you can find a tight spot, it's a little bit tight there for me, tense all the muscles and all the tissue up in that area for 5 to 10 seconds. And then when you relax, you should feel like the ball sinks in a little bit further and then you start to make some change. Now, you might find that the area that does click genuinely feels a little bit more tender. Then that's obviously a beacon to look out for, but we're essentially looking for anything that feels restricted. Whether it feels tender or not is different for each person, but we're looking for those restricted areas. So if you know exactly where it clicks, start there, but make sure that you're working above and below that, just in case there's something that's compromising that section that isn't instantly obvious. Now, the second way that we can do this is once you've found a spot that feels tight, we can use movement to shear this tissue free. And this plays more into the fascial restrictions that you might find here. So what you can do basically is you can roll your leg backwards and forwards. So we're not rolling over the top of it, we're putting some pressure down there, then we're creating some external and internal rotation and shearing that tissue through. What you can also do with your leg out straight, we can do the same thing. We can do the same thing here where once you've found a spot that feels a little bit tight, you can roll your heel in and out, essentially internally and externally rotating that leg and sort of shearing free some of that tightness. And what you can also do is you can bend your knee and gently lift your thigh up off the ground. And provided this doesn't cramp your hamstring, it's a great way to shear that tissue past the ball and make some really strong gains in and around the front of that hip. So symptomatically, the couch stretch and a tennis ball or lacrosse ball, you can use a bigger ball if you want to, but those two exercises are fantastic at releasing the handbrake and taking away some of the tension that can contribute to clicking at the front of that hip. Now, as we said right at the start of the video, that can be fantastic for a short amount of time. You might find that you can make some amazing progress and progress you've never made before in the space of 10 or 15 minutes. But unless we have this next conversation, there's every chance you're going to have to do the same thing again tomorrow, because it's going to re-tighten again if we're not addressing the cause of why that area has become tight in the first place. And as I said before, if you're a fan of the channel, you will know that one of the main causes of tightness through your hip flexors is restriction in your lower back. Now that may sound strange to some because it's a different area, but anatomically a lot of people forget or don't even know potentially that those hip flexors, part of those hip flexors obviously anchor to the front of your hip, that iliac crest, that pelvis, but a portion of those hip flexors attached to the front of the lower back. So if we're thinking that the hip flexors are tight at the front, then we need to make sure that we're having a look through the back to make sure that there's no hidden restrictions there, pulling the slack out of that hip flexor, contributing to that tightness. Now, the other thing to consider with this, and we'll get to this in a second, is one of the main reasons why your lower back becomes restricted and why a hip flexor is encouraged to tighten is often because of the amount of time that we spend sitting. So being stuck in this 90-degree hip angle, those hip flexors are often stuck in the same position for hours at a time, day after day. And then our body tends to adapt to what we do with it. And if we're asking it to be in the same position all the time, we tend to lose the outer ranges of that range of motion. So one of the reasons why the couch stretch may feel terrible for someone is because that's a hip extension exercise. And if you're always in hip flexion, it can be very hard for you to go the other way if you're not doing that consistently. So we need to make sure that we're talking about your sitting habits and how often you're sitting, but then also having a look at your lower back to make sure that we're not missing anything that's restricted there. And a great way to do this is, again, with your lacrosse ball or tennis ball, the same way that we've dug a ball into the front of the hip, we can do the same thing around the back. So we can take the ball and we can put it right in the middle of your back, not right down the base where your tailbone is, not right in the middle of your back, but sort of halfway between those 2 points. And then we can get you to lie down on top of the ball. We can go hunting for some of those restrictions. So generally the restriction is going to be on the same side as the hip that clicks, but it can be the opposite side. So we're actually looking for the areas that feel like they're the most restricted, the most dense, that don't sink in as well. And with the ball, if you start right in the middle where the bump is at the spine, and just let it roll immediately off to one side, get a sense of how you feel the ball sinks in. Does it feel restricted? Does it feel tight? Does it feel tender? And then compare it to the same spot on the other side. And irrespective of which hip is the hip that clicks, one side of your spine will feel like the ball doesn't sink in as well. And that is a restricted segment of your back. So all we want you to do here is, again, we're not rolling around on the ball. We're finding a spot that feels a little bit stiff, a little bit restricted. It may be tender, it may not be, it doesn't matter. We're looking for restriction. We want to let the ball gently press into that for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable, until you feel like it starts to give a little bit. Once you've done that, you can then move the ball up a little bit or down a little bit, just until you find the next spot, and then you can segmentally work your way up and down from that point, capturing and releasing the areas that feel restricted. And the important thing is, as I said, if that hip flexor is tight and the segment that it attaches to is restricted, then we can start to release a lot of that hip flexor tightness by releasing some of that hidden, asymptomatic, covert low back restriction as well. So again, you don't have to have a sore back. You may, but you probably won't. It may not even be tender to dig into, but if you feel like there's a genuine difference in the amount of resistance to that ball on one side versus the other, and it stays on the same side, which it does for most people, then by taking off that handbrake, we have a chance for that hip flexor to normalize and to stop clicking long term. So again, if you're not freeing up your back and releasing your lower back, then it's very hard for a tight clicking hip flexor or anterior hip area to normalize forever. But that's obviously what we want long term. So making sure that you free up the hip flexor with your couch stretch, use your lacrosse ball through the front to hit any of those soft tissue restrictions, those fascial restrictions. Take a ball or a foam roller to your lower back. Don't roll around. Find a segment, specifically put pressure through that segment so it releases. And then make sure that you're considering your postural habits as well. So as we talk about almost in every video that relates to some spinal dysfunction, if you know exactly where your main segments of stiffness and restriction are in your back that are sort of causing consequences to your hip flexors, then there has to be a reason for that. There has to be a reason why this section of your back is stiff and down low is okay and up high is okay and the other side's fine. There has to be a very specific reason why one segment of your spine and your back is relatively dysfunctional compared to the rest. And I'm sure you could mount a case for a number of different reasons, but what I find clinically consistently correlates to the area that you're having an issue with is often the position that you're putting your back into. So not only does the act of sitting in a 90-degree position at the desk or a couch or at a computer force the front of that hip to become restricted, but if you then also let your back slouch, the section that you hinge through the most is most likely where the increased tension is going to go. And if that's a consistent theme of your life, your body has to react to that. It has to adapt to that, and it often becomes stiff, tight, and tender. So what we often find clinically, or what I see with my patients a lot, is that the exact area that they'll hinge through is the area that's the most stiff. And the reason why one side's stiffer than the other is because most people don't sit and slouch symmetrically. We're either stuck into the side of a couch watching TV, driving a car, we're using a mouse that's twisting us. We're often asymmetrical. And if we're sitting on the couch, whatever it might be, the position of our spine is compromised in some way. So to put all this together, free up the front, free up the back or the lower back, and then make sure that you're being conscious of the way that you're sitting and how often you're spending in that sitting position if you want this to go away forever. So I hope that was really helpful. I hope that was insightful. Let me know down below if it was or it wasn't. It'll help me sort of dictate what I do here. Slap a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, maybe leave a super thanks if you found this helpful in any way, and then we'll see you in the next one.